achieving like more fungibility for Litecoin. So the way we're doing this is an opt-in extension block. So exchanges don't need to support the extension block. They don't need to support MWeb addresses. If you want to send, if you have coins in the MWeb extension block and you want to send it to like an exchange that only has the regular L or M addresses, you can just peg out your coins, basically move it out from the extension block back to the main chain and then send it to the exchange. You can even do it like directly, right? Pegging out from an MWeb address directly to an exchange, from the MWeb address directly to an exchange. It's a soft fork upgrade, so people don't have to even know about the MWeb extension block or MWeb. And exchanges don't need to update their software. They can just support the main chain going forward and not even know about or care about MWeb. Okay. And because of the opt-in nature, most people are okay with it because you can still see everything going on. So MWeb doesn't hide kind of the transaction history. There's scalability benefits where if, for example, if I send some coins to you and you send those coins to someone else, the transaction from me to you and you to someone else can actually just be dropped from the blockchain because it's spent, it's no longer needed. So because of that, there's some scalability benefits because the blockchain size can be reduced. And that provides a little bit of more kind of privacy, if you will, but it's not like Monero, for example. So it's kind of a different kind of privacy. And I think exchanges will be okay with it, from what I can tell. And yeah, so so the bottom line is there is definitely some risk, right? So we're keeping a close eye on it. If all the exchanges start to delist Litecoin because of MWeb, then obviously this is not the right thing to do, right? So liquidity is very important, but there's a balance, right? So yeah, so we're definitely keeping a close eye on it.
So here's my question then. So exchanges obviously have the opt-in or opt-out option. So I'm just a layman. I'm not the full expert. So correct me if this is wrong. So can my personal wallet, my Lite wallet, or let's say I have an Exodus wallet or something like that, can I still, perform in that MWeb transaction through my wallet, or is it just through exchanges, or how does that work? Is it okay in a wallet?
Depends. So your wallet needs to upgrade, right? So
so it depends if the wallet wants to upgrade, right?
So Litecoin Core obviously will support it, the desktop wallet. We're gonna work on adding it to Lite Wallet. So if you support it, then the wallet can send to an MWeb address, and you can also always receive from an MWeb address, right? If someone has their coin on the MWeb side, and your wallet doesn't support it, they will just send it to your regular address. The coins will be pegged out of the extension block into the main chain, and you'll just get the coins, right? So you don't really care where the coins came from, but you won't be able to send to an MWeb address, right? If the recipient gives you an MWeb address, your wallet would not understand what that is. So it will take some time for the community, for the wallets and everything to start supporting MWeb, and that's expected, and that's why this is a software upgrade. We're not required everyone to support it from the start.
Okay. Now, moving on to a different topic. What was your first thought? I'm sure you were in communications with PayPal, or maybe they reached out to you first. What was your first thought when you were like, holy crap, Litecoin is being added to PayPal?
They actually didn't reach out to me. So I found out about it actually a few weeks before they launched. And it's just because a friend of mine happened to be in the beta testing of the product. And he reached out to me and said, FYI, this is coming out. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy. So I was very excited about it, obviously. And it's awesome that they chose to support Litecoin without me like asking them. Right, so they saw out of all the cryptos, they decided to support Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash, and that was it. And it's Yeah, it's huge, right? Last year when
It
they
is.
announced it, it was like the biggest news of the year. It really kind of made Bitcoin and Litecoin mainstream, right? It's
Yeah.
PayPal is a big player, and they're going to let people buy and sell Bitcoin and Litecoin. I mean, thinking about it right now, it's still pretty crazy that this is happening.
It
Right? If
is.
you 4 years ago, like if you tell me that this is going to happen, I wouldn't believe you, right? It's kind of it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And again, right now, because I post a bunch of tweets and I say, well, a lot of good things about Litecoin, right? I'm pretty bullish, not only on the network, but also on the price, right? And a lot of people just keep giving me crap. I start to see some more disbelievers, and it usually tells me, okay, Litecoin's bottoming out against Bitcoin, right? If we talk a little bit of price, and if you look at the cyclicality of it, if you look at the chart, LTC, BTC, you see the exact same price momentum that happened in 2017, which is in 2017, Litecoin bottomed out in March, and it used March and April as the spring to shoot basically to all-time high. It was tremendous, right? In both USD pair and BTC pair. What do you say? I know we probably shouldn't talk price or anything like that, but what do you say to people? Because there's a lot of people that kind of need hope, and I can only do so much, right? When I tweet and try to help them out. What do you, can you give them some hope? What are your thoughts?
Well, I like no one really knows the future, obviously. So yeah, when in 2017 we saw the same thing. Like Litecoin, LTC, BTC just kind of kept dropping as Bitcoin was going up, and got to like a really like low point before it started picking up. Right during that time, I was thinking about 2013 actually. In 2017, I was like 2013, the same thing happened. Like LTC, BTC dropped to an all-time low, and then it shot up. It hit like the high of $50 at that time, which is like I think it was over $1 billion market cap, and that was like the high of 2013, and that was crazy when that happened because it went from like 50 cents to like $50, right, in a matter of a few months. So we saw the same thing happening in 2017. It was at $4 forever around. And there was like a meme going on about Litecoin always staying at $4. It was like the stable coin. And as Bitcoin was going up, Bitcoin went from whatever a few $100s to over 1,000. Sorry, for 27 it went from like less than $1,000 to like 15,000. By then, like the Litecoin stayed at like $4, if I remember correctly. So the LTC BTC ratio kept going down, and then Litecoin had its because of like SegWit and everything else going on with Litecoin, it really shot up. Right, it went all the way to whatever to like over $300. Could the same thing happen this time? Yeah, it could happen if history repeats itself. But you don't know for sure, right? So
Right.
I tell people like it's you can't really focus on the price, right? If you have like, and I also tell people like don't go all in on Litecoin, right? Litecoin is very volatile. It's even more speculative than Bitcoin, right? So definitely hold some Bitcoin. I've tweeted about this before. Like you like it'll be good for your heart, right? Just have some
Yeah.
Bitcoin because Bitcoin will always do. It's the king of crypto. It will always do well. At times, Litecoin will outperform Bitcoin. So obviously, if you held everything in Litecoin, it's a gamble, but sometimes it pays off, right? But it's definitely very stressful. It's not good for your heart to have everything in Litecoin. So hold some Bitcoin and don't worry about the price, right? It's gonna do what it does. Um, I think it's gonna go past all time high. It's gonna shoot up, but then it's gonna like does plateau, right? It's gonna drop back down. So
Go past all time
in
high.
2017, I tweeted that the price could drop like
it's
80,
gonna
90%, and you might see Litecoin $20. Same thing would happen this time, right? If it goes to like 1,000, let's say this time, it could drop back down to 200, right? Or even 100. So you can't really like focus on the price. You just kind of have to just buy and hold, and in the end, it's kind of like I see it not as an investment, and more as a store value, right? It's a long-term store value for Bitcoin, Litecoin. and these major cryptocurrencies, you kind of move your money into crypto because you think it's a better way to store your money than um, than fiat and even like gold, right? So diversify
Yeah.
your wealth, put it into crypto, and kind of just forget about it. If you're doing this as like a speculative investment, then I think that's a wrong play, right?
Yeah.
And it's just too stressful.
And it's interesting. You talk about it being a store of value, and if you actually look long term to the max life of Litecoin, if you pull up the chart, US dollar performance against Litecoin, it is in a complete downtrend from the moment Litecoin was created. So what that means, a lot of people kind of don't grasp it, right? In the audience, they're just newbies entering. What that means is that ever since Litecoin was created, Litecoin has been able to hold your value, your purchasing power more than if you were to hold dollars. And the same thing has happened with Bitcoin. And so, like you said, long term, it serves as a good store of value. And it is because of its characteristics, the scarcity aspect, right? And so I say people just need to be a little patient. And I tell a lot of people, follow the money and look at the fundamentals. What is Grayscale accumulating the most recently? Litecoin. Grayscale is composed basically of institutions that are looking for alpha or that are looking for a good investment, right? So that's one thing. Another thing, MWeb integration is a positive thing, similar to what Segwit did, right, in 2017. And what are the coins that PayPal's adding? PayPal's not just picking some random coin out there that, it's Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? So it's solid coins that have been out there. And, you know, I hear there's talks around, I think PayPal announced that Venmo is going to also, be able to use Litecoin and Bitcoin and all that stuff, right? So that's also coming out. And so to me, I think people need to be patient and people need to look more at the LTC BTC ratio than at the US dollar chart. And if you just want to hold your store of value, look at that US dollar versus Litecoin. And the story just, it tells it for itself. And so I think those are my thoughts on that. I don't know if you have
Yeah.
anything to add.
Well, I mean, Litecoin's been around for almost 10 years now, right? That's a really long time. So
Right.
this year is Litecoin's 10-year anniversary. It was created in 2011. Um, so you kind of need to zoom out, right? I think people are just too focused on the day to day, right? So
Yeah.
Litecoin, yeah, there's always these new and shiny coins that have kind of surpassed Litecoin, have pumped a lot more than Litecoin. That's always going to be the case. There's always going to be something that Litecoin will not will not be like the coin that has risen the most, right? It's just there's always going to be something else that a smaller market cap coin or something that has done better. So, and people love to compare Litecoin to the latest craze, right? And that's not fair because Litecoin is not it will be around in 10 years. These other coins, who knows if they're going to be around in 10 years. In 2017, there were a lot of coins that were higher than Litecoin market cap, and today they're nowhere to be found, right? So Litecoin will last a lot longer than these other coins, and Bitcoin even more so, right? So a lot of people think Bitcoin is boring. A lot of people think Litecoin is boring. Yeah, so like if you're investing in Litecoin, you kind of have to just like put it there, and it's a long-term play, right? If you compare Litecoin price to a year ago, last year we hit like a $23 low. Right now we're around 200, so it's 10 times gains. So that's quite a bit, and you can't
Right.
really look at the day to day. You just have to like zoom out.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts right now, off topic with Tesla, Elon Musk? I literally woke up at like 7 a.m. I go to Twitter. Elon Musk was up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. doing I don't know what. And he said, we are now accepting Bitcoin as a method of payment for Tesla cars. And not only are we accepting it as a method of payment, but we're going to keep that revenue in Bitcoin and not convert it into fiat. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's kind of expected because when they bought Bitcoin, they said they're going to look into accepting it, right? But the reality is awesome when they actually start accepting it, which they started. So it's cool, right? I think it's big news. I've always wanted Tesla to accept Bitcoin and eventually Litecoin for their cars. I think
Yeah,
for and the best part about this news is that they're not using a payment processor, right? They're not using like BitPay or someone
it's
else to
crazy.
accept Bitcoin. They built it in house. They're using open source software to maybe even like yeah. So it's great because they're doing it themselves. They're accepting Bitcoin and they're keeping it, right? They're keeping it on their balance sheet and they're not converting to US dollar, which is awesome. And which is the way like everybody should be eventually, right? A lot of
Right.
people are using BitPay and other merchant processors today to accept Bitcoin, crypto, and convert it immediately to dollar. And that's a stepping stone to kind of like the the real way that crypto should work, which is people are sending cryptos to each other and everyone's just keeping it inside the crypto ecosystem.
And do you think this is going to be kind of like a Kickstarter for other companies to start joining? I mean, look, MicroStrategy started the whole deal with, we're adding Bitcoin to our balance sheet, right? Then came out a few other companies, then Tesla. And I feel like Tesla being the company that it is, everyone in the world knows Tesla. Everyone in the world knows Elon Musk. Um, when they said, hey, we're buying, I don't know how much they bought, $5 billion worth of Bitcoin, putting in a balance sheet, and now they're accepting it. I mean, look, Bitcoin has been going up in value against the dollar. It is a store of value. The most, you know, legendary investors are buying it, calling it a store of value in this basically inflationary system. I mean, are people going to start realizing, wait a minute, we do need to start buying Bitcoin? Or do you see like big companies like Apple maybe adding it to the Apple wallet or maybe adding it? I mean, do you see this as a domino effect? I guess is my question.
Um, yeah, I do. I think uh, if they're not, they're definitely looking into it, right? If they haven't pulled the trigger, I mean, I'm sure a lot of companies have pulled the trigger and they just haven't announced it yet, or maybe they're not required to announce it. They're just going to keep it to themselves, because some people will think it's risky, but in reality, it's risky not to hold crypto, right? Not to hold
Exactly.
Bitcoin. So it's a smart and surprisingly conservative play to hold Bitcoin on your balance sheet. Um, and I'm sure these big companies are looking into it. And when that happens, like on a massive scale, then the price it will moon, right?
Yeah.
Because companies like Apple have trillions of dollars like in cash, right? And actually, I don't know where they store their money, but they have trillions of dollars. Um,
Right.
and if they just put a small percentage into Bitcoin, it's going to be huge, right?
And like you,
Tesla put 7%, I think, of their
yeah.
treasury into Bitcoin. I think it's like $1.5 billion, and they might add to it. And they're selling cars for it, so it's going to increase. Um,
I think they've made more money with the appreciation of Bitcoin in their balance sheet than selling cars. That's the funny thing.
yeah, um, yeah. I think that's why this bull run is not over yet. I think it's just the start.
Yeah, and just like you say, that risky aspect, I made a tweet, a video, and I'm like, look, a lot of people call me risky for, being all in on Bitcoin and Litecoin.
Mm-hmm.
But then I tell them, have you realized that since Bitcoin and Litecoin were created, back to that comment, the dollar has been depreciating. It has been devalued against Bitcoin and Litecoin. Ultimately, I end up having more purchasing power by holding Bitcoin and Litecoin. Everyone has their own risk tolerance, correct? But if I look at how I've done better, right? And part of the reason why I got in this whole like crypto and Bitcoin and Litecoin game is because of the current financial system, right? The current financial system, I call it Wall Street over Main Street. And what do I mean by that? We have the fiat system, which the Federal Reserve just printed. Basically, the US government just printed about 30 to 40% of all US dollars ever in the existence of the US in a matter of a year and a half. And that rings alarms to me, right? That rings a bell, right? Wait a minute. I mean, that's an issue. And so we need to start putting some of our money into something that is not inflationary but actually deflationary, right? Because Litecoin is scarce, Bitcoin is scarce. And this brings me to my next point. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the current economic environment as governments print trillions? Again, that 40% that has been printed in about a year and a half. Do you see inflation coming? I mean, if you look around, real estate is going up in value, Bitcoin going up in value, Litecoin, commodities, equities. What are your thoughts?
It is pretty crazy that the Fed has printed, uh, was it 20 or 40% of all U.S. dollars in existence in last year?
It's around 30, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, it's unheard of. It doesn't make any sense at all that in 1 year they can like increase the amount of US dollar by 30%. And it seems like they're not stopping, right? There's stimulus bills left and right. They're doing more, and this year they might even print more. And that's good for Bitcoin, Litecoin, and crypto in general. But in the end, I think you have to think of it this way: you're putting your wealth in crypto because it holds purchasing power. The most important thing is that it holds purchasing power, right? It's inflation proof. So US dollar does not hold purchasing power. It's not going to, right? 10 years ago, things cost a lot less than they cost right now in US dollar terms. But not only is crypto like holding purchasing power, it's actually helping you increase purchasing power because of the current economic system out there that the US dollar is being printed. And also because we don't really know, like crypto hasn't reached its final form yet, so to speak, right? It's still kind of growing, it's still trying to figure out where it fits into the whole space. So it's still going to grow faster than anything else. So it's definitely a good conservative play to put part or even most of your wealth into something that holds purchasing power or even increases your purchasing power. So increases your purchasing power. I think this current environment is just great for crypto, even good for gold and silver. It's good for real estate. Real estate prices are going to go through the roof. In the end, like the US dollar is just keep on inflating away. Would it go to hyperinflation? We don't know. I think it's inevitable that the US dollar would just become worthless. I mean, if you look at the past like few hundred years, it's already become worthless compared to what it was 200 years ago. Yeah. But even more so now, I think it's just going to spiral out of control. But it'll still be okay. I think maybe it might not happen in our lifetime, but it's inevitable that the US dollar would hyperinflate. That's my opinion. And definitely don't hold your wealth in it, because then you'll lose all your purchasing power.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and the whole game, is basically, like I said, Wall Street over Main Street, and that, the top 10% of the United States hold nearly 50% of all assets, commodities, real estate, Bitcoin, all of that. And then the bottom 50% only hold 2%, right, of all assets. And so that just tells you right there with this printing, and it has been happening. It's been the trend for 40 years. The prices of assets have been increasing. And who holds assets? The rich. Who holds cash? The people. And so that's my main driver and thesis behind Litecoin.
It's very unfortunate. You're exactly right. Like last year, the pandemic happened, and the rich just got richer, right? Like Bezos and Musk, just their wealth like exponentially increased, and like this stimulus, right? Like printing money to send cash to people, like half the money they printed goes to other things, right? So when they print money, they're devaluing everybody's money, right? And then they're giving you half of it back. So if you step back and look at it, you're actually losing money when that happens, because the money that you actually hold today gets devalued, and then you get half of it back, of how much it gets devalued. So you're actually losing money, and you're not actually making money, even though everyone's getting like a check. But in reality, if you step back over the long term, you're actually losing money. So it's actually just a crappy way of handling this thing.
And you want to know something? Living proof of this. If you would have put your $1,200 stimulus check last year when you got it into Bitcoin, you'd now be holding around $15,000 or something crazy like that. So that tells you.
Yeah.
that tells you right there what has held purchasing power and better yet increased it, not dollars.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty funny that when the stimulus check went out, Coinbase released some stats about people buying this exact amount of Bitcoin, right, or crypto.
that's awesome.
They saw like a spike in that denominated amount of Bitcoin for that like week span or something. That's pretty funny.
I didn't see that. That's pretty funny. But anyway, okay. So just to wrap things up, all right, Charlie. So I am going to, say anything, a phrase, a word, and you have to respond with only one word description, only one word. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start. Let's start with Bitcoin.
Gold.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna say about Litecoin. What Litecoin?
Silver.
Stock market.
Crap.
what do you say that? Because it's so overvalued and just getting pumped?
Yeah, it's kind of, it's just, yeah, I wouldn't touch it.
Okay. What about Peter Schiff?
Old.
um,
or old school. How about that? If that's one.
Old school. There you go. That works. What's another one? Let's see. MWeb.
Fungibility.
Okay. All right. I think I'm running out of words. I think that's good enough. But anyway, last question. Again, I always say I'm a copycat of Anthony Pompliano because I really love these questions that he asks at the end. 2 questions. What is your favorite book or a movie or something that has, given you a lot of, change, overall change, or like, wow, this changed my life, how I do things?
I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, so I would
Oh
say
my
Star
goodness.
Wars. I mean, I can tell you have a lightsaber behind you too. I have one right there.
Oh, really? What kind?
It's just a hilt. 1 second.
Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome. I think we have the exact. Hold on. I gotta bring it to me. This is cool. Yeah. So this is. I think it's the same one. I think it's Luke Skywalker's. Is it the same one?
It is the same one.
There you go. I actually made a video talking about Litecoin, and I'm like, "May the light force be with you," and then I went.
Like yeah, I'll turn mine on also. Can you add a special effects afterwards?
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try to do that. But anyway, yeah, I'm a huge fan. Sorry if I cut you off.
I'll turn mine on also. Can you add a special?
Yeah, man, I have posters all over my living room over there with the Mandalorian and all that stuff. But anyway, okay, so Star Wars. Why Star Wars? Why is it so meaningful?
It's just so cool, right? It's just like, I mean, I watched it when I was a kid. It took you to a galaxy far, far away, right? It's very imaginative. Yeah, it's my saying is any movie with a lightsaber can't be bad.
Yeah, hey, that's true. I agree with that. What about, okay, so I guess you like Star Wars, so this probably answers my next question. Do you believe in aliens?
I do. I think it's just the chances that there are aliens that have even visited Earth is just, it's very high, right? There's the number that people calculate based on a number of planets in the world or in the galaxy, in the universe, with planets that can have life and chance of life forming and life being more advanced than us. It's just a high number. So yes, I do believe in it. I'm not sure if there's a lot of like people like seeing like UFOs and stuff, right? I don't know how much of that is true, but I do believe there are aliens.
Cool.
But I want to caveat this by saying that I hope they never show themselves, because it's gonna it's gonna destroy like everything, right? Like if they show up and show themselves, we might have wars, we might start attacking them. Who knows, right? So it's gonna destroy what we like, how we're working, how life is happening right now, which would
yeah,
be
I think people would be freaking out a bit. It'd be a Big concern. But anyway, Charlie, thanks for coming on the show. I'm really happy that you came in. A lot of people needed to hear just Charlie Lee, the man, the Litecoin man. So a lot of people just need that hope, and a lot of people love to hear you. So it's great that you came.
Sure, thanks. I was glad to be here.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Coin Vigilante podcast, where you're going to get to hear a layman talk to some of the most prominent figures in the crypto and finance world as they try to explain some of the most complicated topics regarding finance, economics, stock market, and crypto in general. I will use this as an opportunity to gain a better understanding, and I hope you do as well. You're going to enjoy this next killer episode. And again, I thank you for watching. Let's go. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Coin Vigilante podcast. So today I am really excited because we have a very special guest. We have Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin. Now, Litecoin has been around for about 9 years, and it has remained in the top 10 ranking for cryptos for that long. And, it's gained a reputation for being a very fast and very reliable method of payment. But without further ado, Charlie, welcome to the show.
Hey, Carlos, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Charlie, a lot of people, I'm a big Litecoin guy. I've been around with Litecoin ever since I got started with crypto about 4 years ago, and I've gotten my fiance to buy Litecoin. I've gotten my in-laws, my family members, everyone's with Litecoin. But we're gonna talk about Litecoin a lot today. But before we get into that, can you let people know a little bit of your background, whether it's work experience and kind of how you got into Bitcoin and crypto?
Yeah, so I graduated from MIT in 1999, got my bachelor's and also master's in 2000 in computer science. So came out to the Silicon Bay area, worked in software industry. Before I found out about Bitcoin, I was working at Google on various different things like YouTube, Google Play, and Chrome. And then in 2011, I discovered Bitcoin and pretty much fell down the rabbit hole. I mean, everyone probably has their own story, right? So I've been kind of um, in the commodities a bit. So I've like bought and sold gold futures. So I kind of understand like gold as money, and I obviously understand software. So when I saw Bitcoin, it was kind of like I really quite understood what it's all about, right? It's kind of it's digital gold, right? So I really digged into like the code and tried to understand everything about Bitcoin, and really kind of it really resonated with me, and that's how I got into Bitcoin in 2011.
So what was the first thought? Like you heard about Bitcoin, you did some research, and like you said, down in the rabbit hole. What was your first thought when you learned about Bitcoin?
My first thought was obviously like, does it really work, right? Is it even possible to have something digital that can't be copied, right? So before Bitcoin, anything digital is you can't stop people from copying it, right? So like MP3s or video files or JPEGs or whatever it is, right? So being able to create something digital that cannot be copied is obviously a requirement for digital money, right? You can't just print your own. And so that was kind of the breakthrough. So I read the white paper, obviously, and really dig into it and kind of like understood how it works and why it works. And that was like the first like major thing I realized, that this is actually something innovative and something totally new in this space.
And so when you're talking about so it can't be copied, are you talking about the scarcity aspect? So, there's only 21 million Bitcoin out there. They
Yeah.
can't be duplicated. And so I don't know about you, but when I first got into Bitcoin, I mean, part of the reason was I was doing some research. I was actually in college, and I'm like, man, I keep seeing the debt increase. I keep seeing, a lot of money being, printed out of thin air, a lot of things like this happening. And I'm like, isn't that an issue? And I'm like, what even is a solution? And then I kind of read into Bitcoin. I'm like, wait a minute, we finally have a solution. So are you talking about that too in terms of the scarcity aspect for Bitcoin?
Yeah, exactly right. So in order for something to be good sound money, um, you can't you can't just print unlimited amounts of it, right? And that's what we're seeing with fiat currency today. And I think gold is a better form of money than fiat, right? And the reason why gold people aren't using gold today is because it's heavy, it's hard to kind of hold, it's hard to store, it's hard to use. If you try to send like gold to someone in China, it's just kind of impossible, right? You have to ship it to them and insure it. So when Bitcoin came along, it's obviously like a better form of money. It's very similar to gold, but it's in an aspect where it's the scarcity, right? You can't just no one can print more Bitcoins. You can mine them and the cap is 21 million, and no government or company or whatever entities can just create more. And that's very important for sound money. But how Bitcoin is better than gold is it's just cheap to send, cheap to store, and it's digital form of money. It's better than gold and fiat, obviously.
And so, okay, so we say that, people understand, okay, well, it's scarce. So a lot of people, and actually family members, when I tried to get them into Bitcoin and Litecoin and all this, but they're like, well, it's backed by nothing. And, I want to hear your take. Usually from my knowledge, what I usually tell them is in my eyes, look, the dollar is absolutely backed by nothing, right? It's printed out of thin air. you know there is value in Bitcoin because no one can print it, but it kind of actually makes me think a little bit, well, is it backed by something? And the only thing I can think of is electricity backs Bitcoin and Litecoin because there's a lot of computing power around the world that keeps the network going. And to me, that's a way that it's backed. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the whole concept of needing to be backed by something is just wrong. Um, so the fiat is backed by the U.S. government, right? Or sorry, U.S. dollar is backed by the U.S. government. People say it's
Right.
backed by the U.S. military. Um, it used to be backed by gold, and then you can ask like, what is gold backed by? I mean, gold is backed by nothing, right? It's basically backed by people's kind of trust in it functioning for thousands of years,
It's a
and that
belief system. Yeah.
yeah, and that people kind of like this shiny object. Bitcoin, if you have to say, it's backed by kind of the usefulness of it, right? So the fact that it's useful and it's scarce just gives it value. But I don't really like talk about what is it backed by. That's not really important, right? What's important is that it fulfills the need of a good sound money, and that's all that
Right.
matters.
Okay. And it looks like a lot of people right now, because before, like in the 2017 mania and that cycle, a lot of people were buying Bitcoin and cryptos because they were just going up. I mean, it was just an insane rally, a crazy bull market. People were making a lot of money. But a lot of people, and it was mainly driven by retailers, but a lot of people didn't really understand the full concept of what Bitcoin is until this new cycle. And I see this new cycle as a more mature cycle because given the current economic circumstances with the printing, with the devaluation of purchasing power, a lot of people are realizing, and corporations, this time it's corporations and massive institutions, wait a minute, just like Michael Saylor says, we have a melting ice cube sitting in our balance sheets as everything else around us gets more expensive. And so we're going to choose to buy Bitcoin and store it in our balance sheet and replace it, replace a fiat into a sound money and a hard money. And I think it's really interesting because that's what we're seeing today. And but leaving that aside, so you talk about Bitcoin being more portable, right? A lot of people can use it, spend it, they can send it to whoever they want. However, it's funny. I did this type of mystery guest type of thing for the podcast with you. I put someone with a question mark. Who do you think it is? And I'm gonna send Bitcoin to the 3 people that get it right. And so I'm like, all right, I message these guys. I'm like, okay, well, send me your Bitcoin address. I'm typing, and I normally don't send Bitcoin, right? I mainly just store it. I'm
Hmm.
typing the address, I put it in, and I'm gonna send $30 to this guy. And it tells me, well, it's an $8 fee. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And I've actually haven't really tried to send Bitcoin ever, right? It's just sitting there. And I'm like, can you actually send me your Litecoin address? Because the fees are maybe a cent or lower, right? So you're talking about this. Now, Litecoin is very fast. What drove you to build Litecoin? What was the reason why Litecoin exists? And if you were to, let's say there's a guy walking around in the street and they were to ask you, what's Litecoin? What would you tell them?
Well, I've always like positioned it as silver to Bitcoin's gold. So I saw kind of how gold and silver has functioned or have functioned over history, and kind of wanted to create something that mimics that kind of duality between gold and silver. So Bitcoin and Litecoin, they complement each other. They work well together. So like your example, right? Today, if you're trying to send Bitcoin, it costs like $10 fee, which makes it really expensive if you're only trying to send $30. But if you're trying to send like $100,000, like it's cheap. It works better than other ways of sending money, like wire transfer. Um, so Bitcoin works for larger amounts, and Litecoin works for smaller amounts. Fees are minuscule. The network is still very secure. It's secure enough for sending whatever, a few $100s, $3,000.
Right.
If you're sending like millions of dollars over Litecoin network, you probably want to wait a while, right? You want to wait for enough confirmations for you to be sure that no one can reverse the transactions, right? Obviously, this hasn't happened before. It's kind of a theoretical attack of someone attacking the network and reversing transactions. But you just want to be sure, right? If you're sending that much money. So Litecoin is very good for sending small amounts. So in a similar way, people use like silver and gold. People use silver for smaller amounts of stuff. People store gold in their bank safe. So gold is more of a store of value, and silver is more of a means of exchange. But they both can work in both cases. And you're seeing something similar with Bitcoin and Litecoin today.
Got it. And so, when we're talking about this, for example, right now, and a lot of people are seeing the value in Litecoin, not just regular people, but a lot of people also see, I think, the store of value aspect to Litecoin, because I was actually reading an article. I believe about 80% of all mined Litecoin in February was bought by Grayscale. Now, Grayscale is a massive organization, and it basically is an on ramp for institutions to buy Bitcoin and Litecoin. Now, I didn't really get into the weeds of like, number one, I don't know if you can answer this question. Why is it that people are willing to buy GBTC, and I don't know if it's GLTC or something, instead of just buying the regular Litecoin and the regular Bitcoin? Is it because there's regulatory hurdles that don't allow them to just hold a Litecoin and Bitcoin, or what's the reason behind that?
I think there are two reasons. So first of all, the symbol for the Grayscale Litecoin Trust is LTCN.
Okay.
The the reason why people buy, for example, LTCN over just buying Litecoin is one, they're not they don't want to kind of do self custody because they don't know how to do it. So it's a daunting thing to buy Litecoin off an exchange and then like hold it in their own wallet. They don't want to hold it on an exchange wallet. Um, so that's hard. So that's why they buy it like a stock, right? So
Okay.
LTCN is an OTC traded stock, so they can use their brokerage account like E-Trade or whatever they use, Charles Schwab or whatever, to just buy this stock, right? LTCN. So it makes it very easy for them to have exposure to the crypto space, whether it's GBTC or LTCN or the Ethereum Trust. And the second reason is similar. It's because if it's an institutional player, they're not able to buy the direct coins. They have to buy like something. So that's why people are pushing really hard for, or hoping that the ETFs happen, right? So if there's a Bitcoin ETF or a Litecoin ETF, it makes it even easier, right? OTC traded
Okay.
uh, stock is still not really widely supported. It's still harder to trade. But if it's an ETF, it just makes it really easy. So OTC stock is kind of halfway there to an ETF, and that's why people buy it. And there's a lot of demand for LTCN, right? Right now, like the price above premium is ridiculous, right? It's at least 10 times. I don't know what it is today, but there's just a lot of demand for Litecoin.
I mean, it's crazy because I think they hold about 1.4 million Litecoin, which is about 2 to 3% of the entire Litecoin supply.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, for the past 3 months, 2 months, I mean, I think I just saw, I mean, Grayscale just bought about 40,000 Litecoin just yesterday or something like that. And so they're accumulating a lot. And my question is, why do you think Litecoin has been one of the most popular products? Why are they holding so much Litecoin? What is it that's driving institutions to hold Litecoin? I mean, I know why I like Litecoin, but what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I think it's one of the top like currencies, right? It's well known. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, I would say, is like kind of the one of the few like well known currencies. So like companies like PayPal, for example, chose 4 currencies, and Litecoin is one of them for them to support. And that's the case like pretty much everywhere you see. Like if you go to Google Finance, look at crypto prices, like the top 3, 4 would have Litecoin on it, right? The first 4 they show. So it's a well-known kind of coin, and it's maybe people think it's underpriced, right? Bitcoin has already uh, gotten higher than the previous all-time high, and Litecoin still hasn't. So maybe it's people think it's underpriced, and they're trying to bet that it's going to go up a lot. Um, yeah, the other crazy thing about the Grayscale Litecoin Trust is it's kind of a one-way thing, right? When people deposit Litecoin into this trust, they can't pull it out. They can only add.
Mhm.
So Grayscale, they don't really buy Litecoin. It's more about people depositing Litecoin into the trust.
Got it.
And when that happens, they don't have a redemption policy. I think it's just the SEC doesn't allow them to have this redemption policy. So just like Bitcoin Trust and Ethereum Trust, they can't you can't pull your LTC out. You can sell the share, right? You can sell the LTCN share when you're allowed to, but you can't pull the LTC out. So it's crazy because that means Grayscale keeps accumulating more and more LTC, which takes it off the market, um, and that's good for the price.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, because think about it, it's a supply shock. I mean, if 80% of all mined Litecoin were bought in Grayscale, right, or were deposited in Grayscale for the month of February, I mean, that just tells you that the demand is there for Litecoin, and the demand is there for those coins that are scarce, which is Bitcoin and Litecoin. You know, there's a ton of coins out there. You know, so many tokens. They call them crap coins and all that stuff, and you know, the institutions and the smart players know what they're buying. And again, like you said, Litecoin is one of the most liquid coins out there. It's literally on every exchange. And so the reliability for Litecoin is there. Litecoin has been in the top 10 ranking since basically its inception, right? So it's gained that reputation of being there, doing what it does best, which is a medium of exchange. It's reliable, proof of work, scarce. All of those things are being hit. And now it is fungible. So you have been working on the fungibility aspect. Now, a lot of people, when I mention fungibility, they're like, what the heck is that? What is that word? So we have MWeb, the Mimblewimble extension blocks or something like that, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
something that has been developed for Litecoin over the past year and a half. And there was the code completion for MWeb on March 15th. So what does that mean? What kind of upgrade does this give to Litecoin?
Sure. So I'm sure people have heard of NFTs these days, right? Non-fungible tokens. So fungibility is an important concept for money, right? So what it means is every coin is equal and identical to every other coin. So one Litecoin equals one Litecoin. And if you think about it, that's not the case today with Bitcoin and Litecoin. coins aren't very fungible because of the history involved of the coin and other aspects where you hear stories about people sending Bitcoin to Coinbase and then they get their account shut down because Coinbase saw that the coins came from, let's say, a darknet market, right? So Coinbase is like, we can't really service you because of the connection to darknet market. I don't know if they still do that, but there is definitely an issue where people it's not just about doing anything illegal, right? It's a lot about like just financial privacy. If you get paid, if your paycheck is in Bitcoin or like.
Today, we're going to show you signs that the altcoin market is about to make a huge recovery. And we're going to show you one trend that's going to send some altcoins parabolic. We're going to show you the actual coins. We're going to show you the entry prices. We're going to show you the exit prices. We're going to give you the full trade. Today's a show you don't want to miss because it's 420. And you know what that means? It means that on today's show, we're going to have a lot of fun. You don't want to miss this one. It's 420, guys. And I'm Crypto Man Run. And I come to you every single day, now at least twice a day. I bring you crypto love, I bring you crypto wisdom, and together we are building the happiest community in the world. If you're new to our channel, welcome. Smash the like, smash the subscribe. Get yourselves entered into the Banter Bags competition. Yes, guys, you know the drill. You can now say this in your sleep. So for those of you who have been living under a rock, let me run you through this one more time. I'm Crypto Man Run. Come to you every day at 10 a.m. EST and on an earlier show with my sniper Sheldon. And together we give you calls that you can't get anywhere else. We're also giving you free money. Yep, free money. Let me explain to you what I mean by free money. We took $10,000 of my money and we put it into something called the Banter Bags. We invested those Banter Bags into pre-market sales, the ones that ordinarily you guys couldn't get your hands onto because there's too much demand. And when we get to 250,000 subscribers, we give the bags to you guys, the public. Yeah. Take the community, select 3 members or 10 members or 100 members. You tell us how you want us to share the Banter Bags. But this money is going to you guys. And today I secured another bag for you guys. And I think this is actually going to be quite a big bag. So Chainlink, Oracle solution for all smart contracts. Well, there is a new type of Chainlink being launched on Cardano, and it's being launched on the Card Starter Launchpad. And that Oracle solution is called Charlie 3. And today I managed to secure a bag, $1,000 worth of Charlie 3 for you guys. So that's another bag into the Banter Bag. So those Banter Bags are really growing very, very, very fast. We had 10,000. AOS gave us an extra 1,000 for free. Donkey gave us 5,000 for free. And we're now starting to sell the bags so we can reinvest the capital. So you ask me, those Banter Bags, $3 million, but we need the market to start running. And in fact, that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about an imminent altcoin run. Now, I know you may be thinking, what is this guy smoking? Well, the truth is I haven't started smoking yet. I'm going to smoke later. I haven't started smoking yet. But I know you're thinking, in this carnage, in whatever's going on in the market right now. And in fact, let's take a look at what is going on the market right now, because it wasn't looking pretty a few minutes ago. So let's quickly call up Coin360 and just have a look, bird's eye view of what the market is actually doing. So that is while that's building up, guys, smash that like button. Let's get the show on the road. Let's get more likes. Okay, it's looking better. It's looking a lot better, which is exactly what Sheldon the Sniper said on his show. He said he's starting to see the green wicks, and it's starting to look a lot better. And we can see that after a big red day, we're getting a big green day. Question is though, what should we be buying? And today I'm going to show you a trend that should play out. And if it plays out, then there's a whole lot of coins that we need to be buying if you want to capitalize on this trend. And we've seen the beginning of this trend actually play out. So stay tuned for that. The other thing I'm going to teach you guys today is how to make money out of a pump and dump. Yeah, you heard right. So there is a pump and dump going on Doge, or who knows, maybe it's not a pump and dump. Maybe it's a pump and pump. We're going to talk about Dogecoin today. We're going to talk about whether this thing can actually run. I mean, you understand what's going on here, right? These people are not colluding, they all formed a movement, and they are going to pump Doge today because today is 420. And they're going to pump it, and at 6 p.m., no one knows which 6 p.m. It could be 6 p.m. New York time, it could be 6 p.m. No one knows which 6 p.m., but everybody's going to buy Dogecoin, and they're going to pump the Dogecoin price to the moon. Fred, let's play some of those videos, just so you guys can understand how big this movement actually is.
Tomorrow is what a lot of crypto investors are calling Doge Day 420. So what exactly does Doge Day 420 mean? Based off the hype of this topic and the fact that it's going to be 420, Doge is set to move from its current price of 39 cents and be pumped all the way up to 69 cents and perhaps even $1. Now, if we've learned anything from previous Doge pump efforts, we know that this is a strong possibility. Have you invested in Doge? Is this going to send your Doge bag to the moon? If you're pushing...
Tomorrow is 420 Doge Day. Do not forget, at 6 p.m., everybody drops $100 on Dogecoin. Repost, do a duet with this video, and make sure the word gets out.
So that is what's going on with Dogecoin. It's on TikTok. It's a massive, massive movement. And this thing is picking up real steam. In fact, it is picking up so much steam that today, on the front page of the biggest newspaper in the USA, which is the Wall Street Journal, look what we got on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. I mean, it wasn't so long ago that Bitcoin was making headlines on the Wall Street Journal, and now we've got Dogecoin making headlines on the Wall Street Journal. And if Elon Musk's tweet is to be believed, then today is the day that Dogecoin actually goes to the moon. Literally, Elon Musk said he's going to put Dogecoin on the moon. Who knows what that actually means? How do you put a cryptocurrency actually on the moon? A digital object. But this is no joke. A lot of money is going to be made and lost in this Dogecoin pump. And today I'm going to arm you with everything that you need to know how to trade a pump and dump, how to trade a pump and pump. And we're going to decide whether it is a pump and dump, or a pump and pump. Well, I haven't even started smoking yet. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Other news today. Let's look at other news today. So WeWork started to accept cryptocurrency. That's quite a big thing. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a whole lot of controversy around WeWork, which was one of the best companies in the world. Then was taken over by SoftBank. There was a big tiff between Adam Neumann and SoftBank, and SoftBank eventually took over all the shares in WeWork and paid the founder out a lot of money. Well, they started to accept cryptocurrency. Now, and they also said that they're going to keep the cryptocurrency on their balance sheet. So this is a company that's actually encouraging blockchain adoption. Now, let me tell you where my issue is with WeWork. I think that this company has become irrelevant. And I think it's become irrelevant because of a culture breakdown. I think the culture breakdown in WeWork is terrible. In fact, I've only ever had bad experiences at WeWork. You know, this is a company that is supposed to foster entrepreneurs and to be flexible and to live in this entrepreneurial mindset. And every single experience that I've ever had with WeWork has been negative. It's always been this rigid, full of rules, exactly the antithesis of an entrepreneur culture. And WeWork is the place where entrepreneurs are supposed to be nurtured and fostered. And so for me, to me, this kind of feels like a desperate attempt for them to try and get this young, more dynamic, more technological savvy, more entrepreneurial people into their WeWorks. And I don't think it's going to work. I think it's a desperate attempt. I mean, you know what? Possibly what they should have done was they should have done Dogecoin and attracted that whole young, you know, like that younger generation, the Dogecoin generation into the WeWorks. That's what I would have done if I were them. In fact, that's what I said yesterday. I said yesterday that Dogecoin is actually now at a tipping point, because it could be that Dogecoin actually starts getting adoption now. You know, I mean, if everybody starts using it, and if these youngsters start to tip each other in Dogecoin and to pay each other in Dogecoin, there is a chance that Dogecoin actually becomes a thing. If not, then it becomes a massive pump and dump. So this is a tipping point for Doge. And if you ask me today, today I saw one or two companies that are starting to reward their buyers or their customers in Dogecoin. So if you buy something at our store, you actually get rewarded in Dogecoin. You get your loyalty points or your kickbacks or your incentives in Dogecoin. If more and more people actually do stuff like this, then Dogecoin may actually become a thing. And you know, sometimes in life, it's not the best technology that wins, but it's the most adopted technology that wins. And if the youngsters decide that the TikTok generation decide that this is the token or the currency that they want to adopt, well, then this is what they're going to adopt and what they're going to use, regardless of how strong it is technologically. Remember, these guys aren't about protecting wealth or about smart contracts. They just want to transact. That's all they want to do. They want to transact. They want to transact quickly. They want to transact cheaply. They couldn't care about inflation, and they're having fun. And that's really what Doge is all about. So we're going to talk a lot more about Doge. But before we do that, I want to bring on our friend Burb. Burb, how are you, my friend?
I'm really good. Really good. How's it going?
Good to see you, man. You know, every time I speak to you, I get this like smile on the inside because you make me feel so comfortable, man. Like the world can be collapsing. The hash rate can be 45% down. You'll come on and I'll feel like everything's going to be okay.
Okay. That's the right approach, I suppose.
Burb, tell me, is everything going to be okay? Like, where are we? Is this Bitcoin going to recover? Was this just a glitch in the matrix that shouldn't have happened? I'd love to hear your views.
Yeah, I think that as we proceed with the bull market, we are going to see more and more of those kind of like harsh and severe out of nowhere retracements. Like percentage-wise, this is not anything like extraordinary if you think about it, right? Before I actually just pull up the charts, we saw multiple like 15% retracements, 30% retracements, like 40% retracements. All of those are typically kind of like natural to Bitcoin, right? Because that's the kind of like a volatility. If Bitcoin goes up, 16, I don't know, 100%, in a year, then there is no doubt that it could go down.
Sorry about that delay. Sorry about that. I wasn't outside.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. And so as I said, percentage-wise, if we see 20% drop, something like this, then it shouldn't bother anybody. But the problem is that the higher we go, the higher we go, the bigger numbers we pile for Bitcoin, then the same percentage means bigger number drops, right? So whenever we see we saw $10,000, for example, in September last year, and there was a 30% drop, it was $1,000, right? When we have $100,000, perhaps, for Bitcoin anytime soon, we would see $10,000 drop on 10%. And whenever we see 30% retracement, it's going to be $30,000, $40,000 in one day, let's say, right? So those are the type of volatility that is coming.
Didn't you predict in the beginning of the year that this would be the year where we see $10,000 wicks? Where you said, we'd see $10,000 candles. Isn't that what you predicted in the beginning of the year? And I think we actually got our first $10,000 candle, didn't we?
We got many $10,000 candles already, kind of like since the year started. But the truth is that this was the largest hourly candle. Like all of the sell-off, happened in under 1 hour, and that is what kind of like is different about this very candle drop. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the charts. Tell me what you're seeing in the charts. While Burb's calling up the charts, I want to just make a breaking news announcement. This is the most important news that you guys have ever heard. Massive breaking news, massive breaking news. The breaking news is that there are 6,400 people watching this stream, and there are only 3,100 likes. The breaking news is that 3,000 people don't want free money. They don't want to win the banter bags, and they don't like what Burb is saying. Now, Burb is an absolute genius. He broke the 200,000, in fact, the 215,000 followers mark on Twitter. Guys, this guy is an absolute legend. His charts are breaking through the roof. But I need you guys to smash the like. Let's share this content across the whole YouTubers. You see, guys, as you smash the likes, the views are going up. I'm watching the likes go up, and the viewers went up by 300. Come on, smash the like. Let's get more people into here, into our family. All right, go for it, go for it, go for it. Let's share. Let me share your screen because you can't share your own screen. And tell me what else going on here.
Yeah. Firstly, there are my parrots in the background. You may hear some squeaking. Uh, Besides squeaking and chirping, yeah, those are crazy. But they always wake up whenever I just go hop on a stream. Most important kind of like
Your
point,
parrots,
that I was.
your parrots
Yeah.
are they want to win the banter bags. That's what's going on here. Don't think. I mean, they want to win the banter bags. They want to like. They want to subscribe. So Sheldon also has parrots. I mean, we heard it the other day. Sheldon also had parrots. Cool. So let's look at the charts.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so most important kind of like a part of that of understanding what's going on with Bitcoin is understanding like what happens on the breaking kind of like highs. We saw the initial high that initiated this entire kind of like low momentum movement, and it was at top around $58,000, right? Then we marked the low as well. Then we approached and even broke the new high, right, which made a new higher high. But at the same time, this high wasn't held. Whenever you see consolidation, some retracement pullback and a breakout attempt, and if this breakout doesn't hold, if this breakout kind of like doesn't hold as a new support for the old resistance, then it actually fakes it out. And this fake out was actually the case in here. This fake out then further on initiated another lazy momentum kind of like a movement. You could even call that some sort of like a chart pattern, like a bull flag or something. Although I personally don't really trust chart patterns so much, in the low momentum movements. How did I know it was low momentum movement? Well, because it presented a fake out, right? If it was a strong momentum, then it actually would would literally just get this hold of this new support, right? And well, which it did not. So I wouldn't trust back then those bull flag those bull flag patterns, that appeared here or here, because they were low momentum, right? uh, Same kind of like another breakout that occurred. It was a repetition of what happened in here. Another fake breakout, another breakout to the upside, new all-time high, and another kind of like just price action dump below the broken resistance, right? So another reason for support not to be held. And that is what makes me think of this entire upward movement, because it still makes new highs, which are higher than the previous ones, right? You see higher highs and higher lows, but technically it's a low momentum movement. It's not any sharp upside trend. It's kind of like this barely making any new highs. It's more of a sideways. And whatever happens, on the chart pattern side, if some chart patterns appear or something, I wouldn't trust it this much, because it's a lot of fake outs, right? Fake out in here, another fake out in here, and I happily and luckily got out of the positions short term when this kind of like flashed, the sell for my trading system for the B Pro, and I actually exited 59.7, something like this. I just cashed out to Tether my short term holdings, and I'm just waiting for it to flash back.
So where to from here? What happens next? I mean, I guess we all know what happened in the past. What happens next?
Yes. So first off, to understand that we tapped into the long range bands. It's sort of like, those are the volatility bands. Those are not Bollinger bands. Those are bands based off the ITR, the average true range. And this is a volatility indicator. Okay. In this volatility indicator, whenever you see a major downside kind of like just response, we can actually just even turn down the momentum waves in here to just keep the bands and the baseline. Okay, so it's cleaner here. It tapped the long range bands on the bottom. Okay, which usually limits down this entire kind of like width of the average movements, right? So based on the volatility, that you could anticipate Bitcoin to trade anywhere between, let's say, $51,000 and 70 almost $1,000, something like this. This would be like an average volatility, kind of like a size. But the truth is again that since we broke this very last support, this very last support of the tiny candle, it acted as an actual pre-breaker, as I call that, because once this level was cleared, it resulted in a big major sell-off, right? So this means that this level had to be of special technical importance and significance, that once cleared, it actually resulted in a big sell. So right now, knowing that it was a strong support, we have to expect this level to turn into a resistance based on the polarity change principle. And usually after such big dumps for Bitcoin, we don't see too often, follow through to the downside. Instead, we see an upside pullback. Whenever you see a sharp correction, type of volatility that we are seeing in Bitcoin in this current stage usually pulls back the price towards the at least pre-breakout levels. And on top of that, we have the mean reversion. Mean reversion per this baseline. This is a hybrid average. So I would expect anytime soon this hybrid average to be kind of like retested. If it happens around $60,000, $62,000, anywhere in here, those would be the place probably to leave some over leveraged longs or just underwater longs. But I definitely don't like the fact that we keep kind of like violating the highs, that we keep faking those supports. So I currently am on the hold, just here on the tether, waiting until it flashes back, and it most likely flashes back whenever whenever it overcomes this PTSD, as I call that. Whenever big dump comes, there is some PTSD, kind of like post-traumatic stress disorder for Bitcoin market, that it needs to have some time to actually start being technical all over again. So don't overtrade this period for sure.
So you're sitting on the sidelines. If anybody wants to subscribe, because to get these signals, where can we get the signals? I mean, we can't wait for you to come back onto Crypto Banter because we may miss the signals. So where do we get these signals?
Yeah, so we have it actually on our website. It's on theburbinist.com. If you will, there is a Burbicator Pro, and this is the system that I'm using. It's not an indicator. Okay, it's a system. It brings the complete exit strategy to point, the entry, exits, stop losses, suggestions, position sizing tips, the overall trend navigation and whatnot. But most importantly, everything is in here. You can go and then it's available on our website, like a full 95 page long documentation on how it works, what you can expect, and yeah, to understand that. But again, this is definitely a very exclusive product. Not everybody should be trading with that, especially if they refuse, to go through the documentation, because that's how it works.
Amazing.
And yeah, that's it.
Cool, my friend. Thank you so much. I know you are the one you had very little time, and you still managed to come on the show. So listen, as usual, much love for you. Happy 420. Go and do what you need to do. We'll see you again soon, my friend.
I appreciate it.
Cool, guys. Thank you, Burb. Thank you, my friend. Alrighty, so other big news today. So that's Bitcoin. Burb, not convinced yet. In other big news today, which, I mean, we should be celebrating this news, and that is, of course, the Venmo news. Venmo now introduces absolute cryptocurrency services to all its users. So Venmo, big in the cryptocurrency space. Now, what they said a couple of things which are very bullish. The first thing is they have 70 million customers. And, Venmo is used to it's an app that's used to transfer money from one person to another. And it seems like they're really going all in on crypto. And why do I say really going all in? So not only can you buy and sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and BCH. I said that again. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and BCH, 70 million customers. But they've lowered the entry points so that you can buy and sell $1 worth of these Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and BCH. And not only that, they're also making promotional videos. So this is Venmo going all in, and this is a big deal. We should be celebrating something like this. But because the market's been so subdued of late, people aren't celebrating it. Fred, let's call up the start. Let's see what they actually said. This is coming from Venmo. They said, with crypto and Venmo, customers can view cryptocurrency trends, buy or sell crypto, and access in-app guides and videos to help answer commonly asked questions and learn more about the world of crypto. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, when they make transactions, customers can also choose to share their crypto journey with their friends through the Venmo feed. So you kind of ask me what they're building. Is they building like a social app around crypto, education, sharing, etc., etc. And that's quite exciting to get cryptocurrency adoption. So that is another major adoption story. There is another major adoption story that I want to talk to you about. But before I do that, I'm going to bring in the genius, the man who called 3 tokens, and all 3 tokens went up. Fred, they went up, what, 80%? How much did they go up, MDX, the last time you came on the show?
Yeah, so Swarm Markets was up like must have been like 200%. We saw KTM went up about 55%. They all just moon, bro, because these tokens are just like, there's no market share. They're tiny. All you need is 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people to, or not million people, but dollars worth of money, and they go through the fucking moon. So yeah, all good, man.
Okay, you don't look scared. You don't look nervous. Is that because you've had a couple of pints to drink, or is that because you're genuinely scared?
To be honest,
Are you-
I feel I haven't even been looking at the charts. I was looking at the charts yesterday, but I've just moved to this new apartment. I'm back in London. So all you Londoners out there, I'm back in the game. It feels good to be back, man, in London. You know, it's been too long. It's been a year out. So just been moving in. But I'm not scared, man. No, like, you know, the market, Bitcoin's gone up like from $10,000, guys, to 60,000. It's a 6x. Like, we're gonna have these pullbacks. Just take it as an opportunity to buy more Bitcoin. That's what everyone wants to do. Buy more Bitcoin for the future.
But I mean, you're only going to buy more Bitcoin if you think the price is going to go up, and if you think the price is going to go up soon. What makes you so confident that the price is going to go up and the price is going to go up soon? And is that just Bitcoin, or is that altcoins as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like I say this, like it depends on your time horizon. So I'll share my screen in a minute, but let me just, like, time horizons are really important because long term, you know, Bitcoin is a superior version of money to fiat currency. Okay, so gold is money historically. Bitcoin's, we know the story, right? Bitcoin's the digital gold. So long term, I can't get bearish on Bitcoin. Buying $50,000 Bitcoin when I believe that there's going to be a whole flush of money, dollars, going into new asset classes. It's a great time to buy long term. I even think, let me share my screen for you, Ryan. One second. Let me just do this real quick.
Do that. While he's sharing a screen, you guys know what to do. What do? We just smash the like button. There's still
Yeah.
2,000
You're allowed
people
to say it, Ryan. I'm not allowed to say smash the like button anymore. So on this channel, you know what, guys? Smash that like button. It feels good to be able to say it again, man.
I'm going to just do what I do. I'm going to hand over the show to you. Good luck.
You legend, bro. Okay, let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen yet? Share screen. 1 second. Stop share. Okay, no. We're slowing this down. Okay, click that. Share the screen. Bang. You should be able to see that now, right? Can you see my screen? Yep. Ran, you there, brother? Anyway, guys, if you can see my screen, you can see my screen. Let's talk. So, yeah, as I was saying there, guys, long-term time horizon. So on the long term, guys, Bitcoin is in a, like, fundamentally, you can see it on, it's literally a fundamental basis thing. Bitcoin is superior money to fiat currency. So in the long term, guys, there's nothing to worry about. Seeing Bitcoin going down 10%, if you look at the logarithmic scale on the long term, if you get rid of this, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing, right? You can see me, yeah? Look, this is, you don't bet against a 12, 11-year uptrend. So right now, guys, long term, it's a great time to buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin hasn't got to the top side of this trend line here. You can see here on the chart, trend line here from two, you would be literally very simple, guys, pitchfork, two high prices. I believe the target on the long term, guys, is $320,000. We all know that. Okay, so let's go on to the medium term, guys. So go on a daily chart, zoom in on the chart. Okay, let's go on this one as well, the horizontals on it. Get off logarithmic. Now, medium term, guys, my line in the sand, I said it on my, obviously on my streams as well. Go over to my channel and just subscribe and watch my streams. But $43,000 is very, very crucial. The only time I'd get bearish on Bitcoin on the medium term, so say we're going to go into like a cyclical bear market, would be if we lose $43,000, because that is basically a macro like low. You know, we moved all the way up from 10,000 to 20K, massive dump. And this level here was the first bullish deviation. So you could call it the lid of this whole expansion. It's the beginning phases of this second expansion in the market. This is a very important level as well, the second one, but that's looking at more short term. So I'm saying medium term, this is the level to hold, guys, $43,000 for Bitcoin. And I actually do see a scenario, guys, that we do potentially play it out with a wick. But it's, you know, at the end of the day, guys, we're traders. You can have a hunch on where you think it's going to go. But if you look at the short term, guys, and you're trading on the lower time frames, I don't see any reason right now. You know, I think that potentially Bitcoin, look at, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I won't give you advice. I'll tell you what I'm doing. If Bitcoin doesn't manage to get out of this like upward